Despite only representing 0.01% of life on Earth, we have caused far more destruction than all other species combined. Every year we destroy 6,000 hectares of forest. Every year we fill the sea with 8 million tons of plastic, and by 2050 there's going to be more plastic in the sea than fish in this red. Every year we fill the atmosphere with 10 billion tons of CO2. It's no surprise that we're in the 6th mass extinction crisis, where species are dying at 1,000 times the normal rate. Looking to our people, climate change is projected to cause 150 million climate migrants by 2050 at current trajectories. And the gap between the rich and the poor is the largest it has been in modern times. Our food systems are also broken. Contamination through pesticides is sadly becoming more and more popular, and obesity-related diseases are a leading cause of mortality. The IPCC released their report a couple of weeks ago, and the findings were pretty damning. We essentially have a new target ceiling of 1.5 degrees, and to maintain the world in any sort of semblance that we enjoy in the moment, we have to stick to this 1.5 degree ceiling. If we go over 2 degrees, then we enter an area called Pothouse Earth, where climate change accelerates out of control. The long and short of it, to hit this 1.5 degree ceiling, we have to get to global zero net emissions by 2050. And to hit that trajectory, we need to reduce our CO2 emissions by 45% by 2030. So we have 12 years to almost halve our CO2 emissions. Understandably, the reaction to the current situation is most people feel helpless. And people look to blame governments or to blame large companies to make a difference. But the root cause of this issue is our consumption patterns. And actually more than half of our CO2 footprint comes from the things that we buy and the goods that we consume. That includes food, drink, clothing, health, beauty, homeware, electronics. Our wallets are the biggest weapon of mass destruction. But what if we could reverse engineer these wallets to become the solution? So our solution is twofold. It's on the first hand to buy more responsible brands. That's ethical, purpose-led, circular, sustainable, equal being the gold standard. And on the other hand, to educate consumers, to firstly tell them the negative impacts of their consumption patterns, but also when they switch to more responsible brands, to show them the positive impact that switching to these better brands has had on their output. Almond is a brand new economy where we reward consumers for buying responsible brands. This is only now possible with the convergence of 3 technologies: DLT, IoT, and smartphone usage. So how does it work? The Almond Foundation partners with consumer brands that reach the minimum environmental and social benchmarks. Brands then join the platform and they tokenize their products by acquiring Almond tokens, and in return get given Almond matrix codes that they place and hide on their packaging. Consumers then buy the products, download the Almond free app, and then scan the codes of the products. There are several benefits for consumers, probably the main one being the financial rewards. Brands essentially underwrite a small amount of money for every product that gets given to consumers. We also provide radical transparency with regards to the supply chain, so people can see exactly where every ingredient in the product has come from. And we're building an impact tracking into our app, so consumers can actually see the positive effect of switching to these more responsible brands. And it will be gamified, so they can unlock badges, can earn certain tier points. And then the brand story. We will show consumers all the good things that the brands do. And discoverability is also a key component. So if you're using the platform to buy a certain brand and you want to buy, say, an ethical footwear company, then you can discover that through the platform. Key benefits for brands, well, again, the main one is they get to increase their sales, but also because of the nature of the platform built on trust, brands and consumers can develop these very intimate, one-on-one, more deep and more meaningful relationships, which ultimately will hopefully lead to more loyalty. Another area that is very exciting for me as a brand owner is, for the first time ever, we'll be able to show brands exactly who their consumers are at point of consumption. We will be able to show the anonymized time, date, and location that consumers are scanning these products. And built into that, we will have a customer feedback tool which will link into our CRM systems. The Almond Foundation is being set up in Switzerland and lives at almond.org. And very quickly to touch on how on the commercials, brands pay between 0.5% and 1% of the wholesale value of the products as a fee to be on the platform. This then gives them access to the codes and all of the customer data. And brands choose what amount they want to put into the reward fund, but we recommend typically 2% of the wholesale value of the products. This can then either go to a user, or to a charity, or to a combination. We're also building in a mechanism that will allow consumers to offset the CO2 of their product at point of consumption. The token model is built to drive maximum value for all responsible brands, conscious consumers, and impact investors in the ecosystem. The value is linked to real money that goes into the ecosystem. In short, the more the economy grows and achieves its mission, the more the participants are backed to the benefit in return, and the lower the environmental impacts that will be placed on the planet. We're building out a great team with some really relevant experience, and we are currently also building out a world-class advisory team. Fact is our proof of concept, and there's some on the tables here, and it's been a pleasure chatting to a few of you during the conference and our stand outside. Looking at our roadmap, we have currently we self-funded the project with a small amount of seed investment over the last few months, and we are launching our green paper next week, asking for input from as many experts and potential brands, potential investors on our model to help refine exactly how we're going to work the ecosystem. And we're on track to have 10 brands by March next year, cross-sector, to really showcase the platform and how we can work with different types of products. We are raising pre-sale investment over the coming months with a view to launching in March, April next year. We've got a two-phase approach. Phase one, we're focusing on the UK and US, which has the largest negative consumption impacts. And then phase two, we're looking at emerging economies that have a growing middle class and the maximum potential negative outcomes, or negative consumption patterns from these growing economies. And then that's our onboarding 5-year roadmap. Thank you very much.